Hello.
Hi, guys.
Well, I'm Jim,
I'm still Chevy.
and wanted to tell you we recorded this episode of Slashcast with video,
Yeah.
but
No show up.
no. The video started slowing down. The audio wasn't correct, so we'll have to work out some tweaks there.
Yeah.
But next episode, hopefully, we'll have something working with video, so you'll be able to actually look at all this and enjoy.
Enjoy looking at this?
And enjoy it. Yes, they're going to enjoy it. We're going to spoon feed them this shit like Rob Zombie does.
All right.
And, just new aspect to the show. So hopefully you enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy this episode. But look for us on video in upcoming episodes. So
Hopefully.
And please like, share, follow.
Absolutely.
/cast on Facebook.
Comment.
/_cast on Instagram. And we got these nice shirts here.
Oop.
And I have one that we don't make. So, enjoy the episode 6, Freddy's Dead.
Right.
And join us next time for episode 7, New Nightmare.
Yep. See you later.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of /cast. As always, I'm Jim.
And I'm still Chevy.
And we're here to talk about Nightmare on Elm Street 6, or Freddy's Dead, the quote-unquote final nightmare. We'll discuss the final part of that more.
Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare, also known as the house that Freddy built and New Line Cinema burnt down.
I agree. So, short intro, and we will be right back to discuss this movie, sadly. I just love that intro.
Jeffy did a good job.
I do. So quick, too. I appreciate it.
What can I say? The man is a talent in the
hopefully,
field of music.
Since he hasn't been in contact with me in a couple of weeks, hopefully he's working on something good. If he's working on anything at all.
I'll talk to him.
Because like I said, I would love to have... I know he would have more ideas, I guess.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's fine with me. Wanted to start this by saying... I showed you the new logos.
Yes.
That my buddy Aaron Shriver, shout out Aaron, he did an incredible job for us.
Yeah, they are amazing.
And they are already out to our shirt designer, and we're going to be getting more shirts printed out for us. You'll be getting one, whatever logo you like the best. I'm getting one of each. You'll get one, I'll get the other.
I'll just rotate them.
And that's what I mean. So anybody watching or listening now, please go like the page /cast on Facebook. Contact the page through Messenger, and if you were to be interested in getting a shirt, we're going to have 3 total designs as of now. Slowly snowball into having more. So
let's hope so.
More official merch.
Official gear.
Yeah.
Just as long as we don't go into underwear or things like that.
Whatever makes the buck, bud.
That's true.
We'll be like Gene Simmons out this motherfucker did. We'll be putting our faces on the mouse pads.
/cast condoms.
/cast tampons, everybody. But yeah, I'm pretty excited, and thanks to Ken for doing that for me.
Yeah.
So quick. We should have them, he said, by the end of the week or end of the weekend. So hopefully by next Sunday, if we're recording again, I'll have shirts to show. So, as of right now, this is an original logo and design. Feel free. The other ones I will have on the page, so you can look at them after the show, I guess. And
what was the name of Ken's place again?
He does not have a page, so it's pretty much
place.
His place.
Yeah.
Ken's Mugs and More.
There it is.
And like I said, as of now, I'm pretty much playing middleman because he knows me and doesn't know everybody else. So if you're interested, contact me, Jim, or the Slashcast page, and I will.
Or get a hold of me as well, or
We'll
Jim.
make it all happen, and to get your very own Slashcast shirt. So, back to the movie at hand, Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare.
Now that the commercials are all done.
Yes. Open this movie for us, and we will let it roll, because I know you put a little bit more effort into your notes, so let's see where we go with it.
Well, let's see. The movie kind of sort of opens up with, the opening credits. We have gone back to the quotes. Actually, we have two this time, and they quote Nietzsche again.
Nietzsche.
I can never pronounce it name right. But then, of course, the best quote comes after that one, and it's the best quote of the whole Elm Street series. "Welcome to prime time, bitch."
Yes.
Freddy Krueger.
Yes.
Yeah, we open up, and they we have the very War Games looking map of the United States, and it's saying, Springwood, Ohio, mysterious killings in Springwood. Apparently they wipe out all children and teenagers. The adults are in some kind of mass psychosis where they're just completely nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But one teen is found, or John Doe.
John Doe. They couldn't even give him a name.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Exactly. And, we talk about how much of fans we are of horror movies and everything. And I can remember way back in 1991 coming home from college on a weekend and wanting to spend my hard-earned money that I earned slinging hash up at the cafeteria. And we went to the movie theater, and my buddies, we sat down, and I saw that opening map, and I got up, and I immediately walked out of the movie theater and demanded my money back, or at least credit to go see another movie, because I had a funny feeling that this was no way to start a movie. Okay. Especially one that's supposed to end such an iconic killer.
Yes, which leads me to say the title itself strictly was to get asses in the seats.
Yeah.
And it worked, obviously. I don't know what the actual box office was, but they ended up making another one.
$34 million.
They made another one, so it couldn't have been that big of a mistake. But
it was to get asses in the seats, but I also believe that New Line Cinema, after Elm Streets 3, 4, and 5, knew that Freddy was running dry. I really do believe that they think that the well was tapped and it was time to put a final goodbye to our old buddy.
Which would have been fine.
If they would have done it decently.
Yeah. I mean, they tried. We'll get into that movie next, but it's not my least favorite by any means. I'm a big fan of the fourth wall breaks. And
yeah, there were a couple
the whole movie.
ones.
Well, the whole movie is because it's Heather playing herself as a character. So the whole thing is pretty much a fourth wall break.
That's true.
So
yeah.
That's what made me appreciate the movie more, and it was Wes being in a movie. It was, you know what I mean? So it was cool. We'll get into that more.
So after the map, what do we have? We have John Doe waking up.
Yes. In a plane?
Yes, in the plane. The whole thing, lady, I'm afraid of heights and this and that. The bottom of the plane falls out. He plummets down to, apparently is Springwood. And while he's in the house, you would think for the Freddy's Dead, the Final Nightmare, bringing the star of the movie, Freddy, the first intro, the first time we see him in the movie, would be iconic. No. How do they bring him in? Exactly.
The Wizard of Oz, Wicked Witch of the West, Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, I thought it was I thought it was bad. I really thought that was kind of a weak.
Yeah. That idea alone was bad. The makeup was bad. Very simple makeup that
the makeup, I don't mean to interrupt you, I'm sorry, but the makeup kind of harkened back to, he almost did look like kind of a witch.
Pretty much, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's just, I think at this point, they didn't have the funding to do the best effects they could do. Robert Englund's probably so tired at this point that he just didn't want to sit for 6 hours. He wanted maybe 3 hours. You know,
True.
and it's just my idea. I didn't look at the behind the scenes
True.
details. It just all adds up, and when they do close ups of the mat, it just looks so simple.
Yeah.
And then you come back in part 7, and then Freddy vs. Jason, and they're both really detailed masks if you look closely.
Yep.
And they just look visceral, more burn victim-y. This looked like a rubber prosthetic on a guy's face to me.
Yeah. There wasn't enough realism put into it.
No, not at all.
So we, our John Doe lands in Springwood. And what really gets me is, we've talked a lot about tying things together throughout the whole series.
Mm-hmm.
He walks by a mailbox. And apparently what is his house that he's trying to remember. The address on the mailbox is 1427. So this whole time he's lived across the street from Nancy and apparently next door to Glenn.
But we never find out when he was living there or when he left. You know what I mean? Like, there's just so many details that are just... Like, it's like the writer was like, okay, this would be a cool idea. He was living right next to Freddy. But wait a minute.
Exactly.
He would have known everything. That, where was he at this time? And we got to look at the ages, too. So in this movie, he's...
Exactly.
What? I mean, they're all pretty much, 17,
is he
18?
a teenager? Is
whatever,
he
late
in
teens?
his late teens, early 20s?
So at this point, it would have been... He would have only been between, 6 and 8 years old.
Something like that.
And 8 and 9 years old. So, whenever the original killings were happening... Well, not the original, but Nancy's scene in 84, if this was 7 years later.
I just found it interesting that it was 1427, which is kind of like right across the street from that famous house.
Did they ever say where he went after he left town?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
He just winds up with a package of sleeping pills, about $30-$40, and a newspaper clipping.
See, I hope...
And amnesia.
I hope when I say, did they do this? Because I want you to be like, yeah, they did. Oh, I missed it. No, they just didn't fucking do it.
No, they didn't do it.
They just... Okay. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now, he wakes up after, realizing what's going on. Oh, yeah, that's right. He doesn't wake up. Freddy grabs him, chucks him through, I believe, the window of a house or whatever, and he lands on a rock. And he wakes up in the real world right outside of Springwood with total amnesia.
Okay.
So it wasn't a stellar beginning.
No. But if anybody doesn't know, the whole premise is that Freddy's going to use him to find his daughter, OBS? Find his long-lost daughter?
Yeah, I have Well, I'll get into that a little bit later. But
okay.
Yeah. But this movie also, like I said, it kind of goes all over. But we get introduced to Maggie and Doc because the cops pick up John Doe. Hey, what are we going to do with him? Let's just, throw him at the halfway house for wayward teens. And we get introduced to Maggie and Doc, who are therapists, if you will.
Okay.
We also get introduced to a couple other kids, 3 other kids. We had Spencer, we had Carlos, and we had Tracy. Now...
Spencer, played by Breckenmeyer, who turned out to be a big 90s actor after this.
Yes,
So.
yes. Which surprised me because, like I said, I haven't seen this in quite some time.
I had to refresh my... I was like, that's him.
Breckenmeyer's?
I'm like,
wow,
that's
yeah.
him. Okay.
But, Spencer's kind of the rebel. Carlos is deaf. And Tracy's backstory is a little bit somewhat deeper. Apparently we find out... she had severe daddy issues, which, a little piece of trivia here, just because we're talking about the actress and the character Tracy. Apparently the actress actually found out while filming that she actually did have issues with her father in real life, which, what a way for a character development to come.
Yeah. She was really able to become that character.
Exactly.
Probably. Yeah. I don't know why she didn't win an Oscar for this.
Oh, yeah, exactly. But, like I said, they set everybody up for, kind of introducing back and forth. And Maggie wants to know what's going on with John Doe. He doesn't know where he's at. She finds the newspaper clipping. Just says Springwood on it, Springwood woman. So we have to figure out what's going on. So apparently impromptu trip to Springwood, which apparently is just right across the border.
I guess. I mean, like I said, the one movie, I said the side of the bus said Indiana on it. And I'm like, they're in Ohio. I think it was part 2. I'm like, wait a minute. It says,
I believe so.
So we do reiterate that it is in Springwood, Ohio. I like that. But, yeah, I mean, the whole premise was just so... Oh, man, there's so many holes in this damn thing. Like I said, that's why I couldn't really delve into scene by scene with it. I really don't recall, everything. So,
well, I try to. I'm not going to go by scene, but just trying to give you a breakdown of, what goes on. So, Maggie takes John Doe, try to figure out what's going on, and the other 3 kids kind of stow away because they want out of the halfway house. And I don't know how Maggie didn't see them behind that paper thin curtains, separating the front seats from the back of the van. Whatever. We're not going to say anything.
Yeah.
But what did you think about when they pull up to Springwood? Springwood would look like some kind of post-apocalyptic.
It's a rundown. It's like they turned this town into a concentration camp type, not concentration camp, but its own little entity. You know what I'm saying?
None of the parents or none of the adults have. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I was going to say something else.
None of the parents have any recollection. Oh my God, there's no kids here, and they start.
It's like they were all brainwashed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But my question is, okay, is it all adults? I mean, how about the parents that? Well, okay, I'm sorry, I misused that. How about the adults that didn't have kids? Did they get the same treatment? Did everybody get whisked away to Weston Hills and zapped and somewhat memories of kids? It's a weak plot point.
Like if you were a parent who didn't have a kid, are you still doing in the same mindset as these other parents who had their kids taken away or sent away?
And I think they could have done a little bit better than the annual town fair. I mean, you got Bonzo the Clown over there smoking, just looking like, why am I even working?
Yeah, and we do. I mean, that kind of leads into the cameos, I guess you could.
Yeah, the first 2 cameos.
Yeah, I guess, which would be Tom Arnold, Roseanne, I think, right?
Yes,
they were the parents.
Roseanne and Mrs. Roseanne Barr. Oh, I'm sorry,
Roseanne
Tom Arnold.
Barr. Yes, 2 of the most volatile people on the planet, especially in the '90s, and this movie took mainstream to a new level. We always talk about how Nightmare was always trying to cash in on what was popular at the time after a while.
Right.
This is just flat out. I mean, we get those 2, and we have 2 more big names that came up later, so I don't know.
And Roseanne, more so or less, her character, Ethel, I believe it is, if I'm not mistaken. But, she grabs on to the kids. Oh, look, you want to come live with us? And it's like they're pained that they don't have kids. I promise I'll try to hide you better this time or protect you better. And, of course, Tom comes around the corner saying, you know what happens whenever you get them around there? He comes back. And I'm like, wow, okay.
And hearing you talk about it makes me think, like, on the other level would be, okay, if you give birth to a child and you raise them, and then all of a sudden they're taken away, or you don't have them anymore. Mm-hmm. I could see a parent going off the deep end, I guess.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So I could see kind of where they were trying to go with that. It just became very comical, this movie.
Yeah.
I call this a Looney Tunes of Nightmare on Elm Street, basically, with a lot of the cinematography and how they shot everything. And it's very kitschy, like...
Well,
comical to me. It's not scary to me.
And even delving further into, like you said, the Looney Tunes. And I'm going to use that for the rest of this broadcast because I like it.
Enjoy.
I mean, after everything goes on with we see at the town fair. Well, Maggie and John Doe venture off to see what's going on. Well, they come across a schoolhouse, and once again, there's a teacher, and he's teaching to absolutely no one. You know, and going on, and this is where we learn a little bit about Freddy, a little bit more about his past history. You know, 1493, Freddy came across the sea. Freddy's really old. I mean, you know, I'm not going to spoon feed it to our viewers, but if you watch the movie, get a chance to pause and check the timeline that's on the chalkboard. Because apparently they bombed Hiroshima and then they took Freddy's child away, as we learn. And it's just, some of it's just far-fetched and ridiculous to me. They could have had a better backstory. They didn't have to go the kind of, you know.
Yeah.
You're talking about, you know, the star of every single one of these movies, and you're just pissing on his backstory as far as I'm concerned.
Well, I think the whole premise was pissing on his backstory that he, you know, with the daughter thing, and then the flashbacks of him having a wife, you know.
Like they tried to round him out, I think.
Yeah.
Or make him seem normal, because Lord knows they had to smash his whole backstory into one 90-minute movie that they never looked at.
Yeah.
And they did. They really smashed it.
They really tried. And it smashed like you would smash a piece of shit. Just smashing it down. So after that, you know, we of course have to get the obligatory 1428 Elm Street, which apparently is one hell of a good transformer, because Carlos and Tracy and Spencer, they drive around in a loop for apparently 6 hours. Hey, that worked in what, Elm Street 4? We're going to bring it back here. Sorry, it doesn't work for me. I mean, it's a small town. If you make a left turn and a right turn and a straight, why are you going to go back to it? Anyways, neither here nor there. Mm-hmm. They come across the house. Hey, it's for sale. We're going to go in and see what we can get into. Boom. The whole house transforms into dun 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 dun. But here's the plot hole there is they weren't sleeping.
Exactly.
So we get the example that Freddy, once again, can manipulate reality.
Yep.
The house, the big explosion that they didn't even react to, which happened right behind them.
They were in the middle of it.
Yeah. And they just kept going. It's so...
Yeah. I actually have here, the house transforms in the real world. Oh,
yeah. So,
okay.
And we always discuss this, how Freddy goes into... You know, we love the original premise that Freddy is a dream demon who can only get kids in their dream when they're scared. And then they just turned it into, okay, we can't really keep writing for that, so how else can we make them scary? Let's put them in the real world more often, but that's not who Freddy is. And then it just turns out to be just complete plot holes and mistakes. And that's just another one.
So the next notes that I have, and I don't want to jump into them yet, are the deaths. So
we'll get into that because I do have the video to play. Okay. We'll watch the quick video.
Yeah, the whole 3 deaths that were in this movie.
Do you want to get into that now?
Sure, why not?
We got to work through this, and
we're going to work through this, but don't worry, I'm here for you.
But I also want to get to the original scripts that were turned down and how what our thoughts would have been and how those would have turned out. So we will watch the kills right now, and let's see what happens. Because this is very quick.
Get ready for the worst minute 30 seconds of your life.
Yeah.
If you're a horror fan.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to hear. I took the sound out, so we're just going to watch.
Okay.
Put that in post. Throwback, we were talking about the classroom.
Go back to the classroom, and, you know... See,
I'm glad I don't
as
have
far
to
as
hear
I'm
that.
concerned, like you said, Looney Tunes right there. Freddy's just being a clown.
Yeah.
That whole... Well.
And even they had a chance to have good gore there, and he was blowing up. It was white confetti coming out of his head.
Yep.
You know? The spider earpiece. We got an asshole again.
Freddy's wrecked him.
Freddy's wrecked him again.
Had to make a, you know...
Going into the brown up. Remember the old Nintendo Power Glove?
Yeah, and it sucked, and so did it in this.
Yep.
Sorry. I was a gaming geek back then, and yes, I owned a Power Glove.
Of course.
I did like this death.
The Wile E. Coyote death, I call this.
Yes.
He is the road runner, and this is Wile E. Coyote falling off the cliff.
Yeah.
And he looks at the camera.
Yeah.
So he has trouble pushing four wheels, but he can fly and kill people and throw them across. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
So this just took up more time because they had nothing to write.
Exactly.
And and they had to throw his death in here because, and we got the morphing stupid
Freddy
3D.
blows up and his head flies out and he throws up his own head.
The sperm fish coming out. Dream demons. So 4 kills total, including Freddy, even though he didn't die.
Yeah, and
then Doc, and he's doing karate.
Well, it's a good thing because he needed karate in Freddy versus Jason. Man, so
it did. He was practicing here.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay, so yeah. Whatever.
Well, Carlos' death. Once again, they played upon either the fears or what am I looking for? Not so much the fears or weaknesses of. Thank you.
Yeah.
What was going on? Carlos was deaf.
Anything they're vulnerable about, he exploits and shows. Okay, your worst fear. I am your worst fear. Now I'm going to show you your real worst fear. Blah blah blah. So
Carlos was deaf, and I think that's probably, of the 3 victims of Freddy, that has to be my favorite. The whole reason why I really liked it is, first of all, the cotton swab through the ear. That was, my 1991 giddy self was laughing. I loved it. I thought it was great. Should have killed him in real life, but let's not go there because that would be logical.
Yeah.
The thing that I liked the most is whenever his hearing aid was out and he was going down through the boiler room and you see Freddy in the background.
You can't hear
like
an
8-year-old going, neener, neener, neener. The sound and the audio and the people who did that, I think they did a good job. That
like muddled, drowned out,
that
muffled,
muddled kind of thing. And when Freddy drops the pin and it sounds like a damn bomb coming down.
Yeah.
I really liked it. However, the whole thing with the chalkboards and the nails, they had to make Freddy look stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a neat way of doing it. I mean, the whole thing with the hearing aid and it once he put it back in his ear and it turned into a big bug.
I mean, Freddy turned into, he spent 70% of his movie laughing.
And he turned into a clown.
And he's a joke to me. I mean, the fact is they made him a joke. They didn't stick with his original story. They, the karate thing, the laughing, and only having very limited deaths per movie, and not having them be at all gory or visually impressive. He just, throughout the series, he just became more and more weak to me.
No, I think that also had to deal with the ratings and everything too, but.
I mean, they didn't even try.
The ratings were. Well, yeah, absolutely, they didn't try.
Yeah.
But the thing that gets me is, Carlos goes up to the bedroom, falls asleep on a nasty bed that was probably bed bug ridden. Anyway, Carlos dies in his dream. His head blows up. Where's his body? Poof. Hey, here's a new aspect. There's not going to be any evidence of him dying. We're just going to disappear. Tracy comes up. Hey, we can't find Spencer. I'm sorry, Spencer. I can't find Carlos. I don't know where he's at. I have to go find Maggie. Spencer's a stoner. He's stoned out on the couch.
Which is, we get a throwback to that in Freddy vs. Jason with Freebird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now, Spencer's death is next on my list.
Okay.
Any points you want to put in before?
No, just the whole. I hate the video game thing. I just hate it. It's weak to me. It shows just lack of trying to show a good kill.
So whenever just rewinding just a little bit, we said about Freddy worked on your weaknesses or your fears. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not 100% sure in this movie that Spencer was afraid of his dad, or if he loved video games. I mean, let's go back a little bit. We had the girl in the weightlifting and was afraid of bugs. As shoehorned as that was, that's how she died.
Yeah.
So Spencer gets apparently high on what I'm guessing is just weed and goes on an acid trip.
Apparently it was hallucinogen now. But real quick,
good.
I think we were always talking about how he kills them by their weaknesses. With this sense, I think he made his perceived strength his weakness. So because he loved video games, it was his strength, but he really killed him with his own strength, I guess.
I don't remember ever seeing Spencer do anything with video
Well,
games.
not really. No, not
I mean,
really.
I'm not.
Did he? And did he know
he
he
might
liked?
have.
I don't know. But
we get Spencer thrown into.
another plot hole.
Oh, he got thrown into another plot hole.
Yeah,
But he gets thrown into a video game,
Mm-hmm.
and what shitty graphics for 1991! It was so god awful bad. But there's Freddy playing with a 1981 Atari kind of sort of off market joystick, pointing and whatever, and it was be like me. It just didn't make any sense.
And like I said, him not even physically touching these people to kill him, it makes him look.
Exactly.
What's he doing?
Exactly.
He has these razor gloves. He is a burned demon now. Like, why is he not killing him?
Because it was in the script.
He's rolling down the step and falling into a butthole.
Well,
he's on a video. He's on a controller, killing people. He cuts the dude's parachute and he falls. He doesn't physically kill anybody.
No, he doesn't. Well, that was going to be my next thing. They see Spencer. Where's Spencer at? All of a sudden, Maggie and John Doe and Tracy come back to the house. Oh my gosh, Spencer disappeared now. Well, he comes flying through a wall and he starts Daffy ducking, boinging around like a video game character, which was,
What are you doing? What's wrong?
Which is kind of a throwback to, Elm Street 1, I guess, kind of with Tina, but it wasn't as horrific where she goes up the wall.
That's what I mean.
But, okay, so
he's slicing Tina.
Tina knows about...
The blood's coming.
Yeah, you got me saying Tina. Tracy, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Tracy, we got to go in and get him.
Mm-hmm.
Or John says it. Knock me out. Well, she hauls off and blasts him. He goes into the dream world. Here she comes floating. Oh, Doc taught me how to meditate. Huh? Oh, positive concentration and you can just go into the dream world. Well,
yeah.
They try, and you got two kids going up against Freddy. He's in some kind of old coach locker room thing or whatever, and we kick and we pull the controller out, and now you're playing with power. Well, a little shout out to Nintendo, because guess what? That glove sucked too. And once again,
like I said, another good idea, fall flat.
Oh yeah. So, of course, Spencer, after much bouncing around the house and punching through walls and everything, Spencer dies.
Mm-hmm.
How does he die? Once again, Maggie watches him roll down the steps into Freddy's asshole. That's the real world.
Yeah.
That's not the dream world.
No.
Huh? So
he just once created again this hole to hell in the real world.
Yeah. Once again, it just kind of. Huh?
Yeah. I don't know.
So we have a bunch of other interaction as we got to figure out what's going on. John Doe is completely knocked out, so we're going to load his dumb ass up in the van, take him back to the mental institution or the halfway house or whatever. And like I said, once again, his death, he's dreaming he's back in his house. Oh, nothing's getting me out of here. The whole house is on fire. He dives out the window. In case of emergency pull, his shirt becomes a parachute.
Parachute.
And we kind of find out that, he thinks that, he's Kruger's son.
He's immune to, being killed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well...
Not knowing he was only using him.
Yeah. Well, Maggie finds out later, or earlier in that, I should say, that, he had another kid, and it was the K. Kruger, and there was a nice little picture drawn, and that's what leads John Doe to believe, hey, I'm immune. Well, guess what? Freddy comes down and says, it ain't you.
Mm-hmm.
Cut. He drops down. That was the whole Wile E. Coyote, squeaky, 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 squeaky with the spikes.
Yep.
We actually see in the real world John Doe's death. The holes like the nails on it and the blood finally coming out. And then in the real world he goes poof. And he's gone again.
Yeah.
they're not following anything in this movie.
No, we've been saying that for the last couple sequels, basically.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they just the continuity went out the window.
Yeah.
A long, long time ago.
Well, they could have tried to, at least keep something from 4, 5, 3, however. But,
yeah.
But then the big problem that I had after that death, Freddy, it's traveling time, and he turns into a mist, and he drills himself into Maggie's head. This is a new thing for Freddy to be able to go into somebody's mind. If he was able to do that at any time...
Exactly. It shows him as all-powerful at certain times, but not...
Right.
5 movies ago.
Right. And my question is, though, if it was Freddy doing it, did he go from the dream world, somehow open the door to the real world and go into Maggie's head? And then you get... And the one that confused me, and I'm asking you on your take on this... Maggie shakes everything off. Come on, let's go. We get into the van and we drive, and it's like they drove through a mirror. Like reality was shattered. So
yeah, that's pretty much going from planes of existence, I guess you would say.
The way I was seeing it,
the veil between reality and the dream world. Yeah,
I was seeing it as Freddy being trapped in the dream world, Springwood.
Yeah.
Now he's in Maggie's mind in the real world, so when she drove through, she broke the barrier.
And now he's free range, I guess.
Free range Freddy.
Yeah.
There you have it. That's I like that term. Free range Freddy.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like I said, we delve into these movies I think our thought process is way more intricate than any of the people involved with making these movies.
Including the scriptwriters.
Exactly. That's why I said any of the people, because
that's true.
I think we are giving all these movies way more justice than they actually put into actually making them, and more thought. And I just think they wanted to make a movie, and they did.
But that's exactly what it is too. These, after 2 or 3 movies, the big wheels in Hollywood. Hey, we got to pump another one of these out. We don't care what it's like.
Nope.
But the fans are going, hey, time out. Yeah, we do care.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, that's the thing, is they care more about the bottom line, not the fans. So that's pretty much what it comes down to. Oh, can you write me a script? I need it out by next October. Yes, Let's go.
Hold on, I wiped one.
3 months of filming, 1 month of editing. It's out in October.
Right.
And we suffer as viewers, but they make their money as producers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it comes down to. It is a business, which is why when you have producers who actually are fans of the genre, Blumhouse is one of them. He loves horror movies. And he puts time and effort, and he actually gets behind the project. He's not just a mindless Jason Blum I'm talking about. He's not just a mindless producer in the background.
Right.
He is very hands-on, which is why I love that he's taken. And even they took over Halloween. Thank you.
And even out of the horror realm, I mean, I love my horror, but I love my Star Wars.
Yeah.
And Jon Favreau, when he did The Mandalorian, Jon Favreau's a fan of the franchise.
Well, I mean, he did Iron Man. I mean, he loves...
Exactly, but he got into it. He got it. Yep. It wasn't just Disney going, hey, guess what, Star Wars fans? Here's 3 new sequels. You're going to take them and love them.
From a nameless scriptwriter. No, this is somebody who's actually enjoys the premise, enjoys the original idea, and it's going to be a pure movie compared to what you all know.
Absolutely.
Which is what I love about fans making movies. Yeah. Because they get it. Money-hungry producers don't get it.
You know what? Me and you ought to redo Nightmare on Elm Street. Just as a goof.
In a heartbeat. I got the costume.
Wow. You got the guy that'll play it.
So.
Well,
yeah,
that's...
I fill it out a little.
Yeah, well, that point to where we just shattered the dream world Springwood into the real Springwood almost brings us 2/3 through the movie.
Okay.
We're going to be getting into another character that we haven't really heard too much about, Doc, which, wow, is he flat.
He is a straight-up space filler.
Yeah.
Throwaway character that
absolutely
could have been something, I would think.
Would have been fantastic if they would have rounded him out.
Could have actually been a good character, but they just completely dropped the ball like they did with a lot. But
so, what do you say?
He hit Freddy with a baseball bat.
Yeah, several times.
Yeah. But, yeah.
take a little break.
Take a little break right now, and
Okay.
we will get into the original 2 script ideas that we heard about, and we'll get your take on it. We'll give our take on it. One name that you might not expect had a script for this movie that got turned down.
Which shocked me because I had no idea.
We have a top 5 list tonight, or whatever, this episode, where we're going to be discussing our mutual, basically, top 5 worst sequels in a franchise.
And that could be any
franchise.
Whatever number, whatever horse.
Yes, not just part 2.
Franchise.
Any installment
Yes.
into a franchise, which was our worst.
And let us know what you think whenever we do it. I mean,
please
we want to hear from you guys.
Yes, comment on the videos and let us know if you agree with our lists. Add your own list in the comments.
Sure.
Please, anything.
Yeah, we want to hear what you guys...
Even rating the movie. We give our ratings, you give your rating. Just type a damn number in the comments. I don't give a shit. Give us some activity. But otherwise...
Don't just type a damn reason behind it.
Well, the rating. Give me a number.
Yeah, that's true.
Give me a number. So, other than that, we will take a short break, and we will be right back. And I didn't mean sugar. All right, and we are back.
Howdy, everybody.
Hello. So, I mean, we're pretty much almost done through the whole thing, so if we want to finish out the premise, we'll get to the conclusion, and we'll get to the side ideas we had.
Well, you know, everybody meets back up with Doc.
Mm-hmm.
Doc's big into dreams. Therapy, this, that. You know, the evil dream demons, they look for the most evil person in the world and give them free reign over the dream world.
Apparently.
Okay. When Maggie and Tracy come back to the asylum, or once again the halfway house, nobody remembers Spencer, John Doe, Carlos. It's like they were completely erased. Doc remembers them because he can control his dreams. Huh? Okay.
So now everybody has amnesia base?
Well, they were completely erased. Kruger erased them.
Okay.
Then maybe that explains why they went poof. I don't know.
Okay.
So, you know, we have a couple dream sequences. Apparently, all 3 of them fall asleep. This is where Tracy is confronted in her dreams by her father, who apparently molested her. She takes at him with a coffee pot. Some of the piss poorest makeup I've seen on a face in my entire life. Looked like silly putty.
Yeah.
She goes at it with Freddy after for a little bit. She wakes up.
Yep.
Okay. Same thing with Doc. He's walking through. There's Freddy. Freddy does his, hey, Doc, how about this? Kung Fu, yeah, flip, flip. Doc beats the hell out of him with a baseball bat. Doc finds out, you know, he's going to wake up because he induced himself, we find out, into sleep. Tears Freddy's sweater. He wakes up. He looks at his hand. Hey, look, it's Nightmare on Elm Street 1. I got a part of Kruger's sweater.
Yeah. Which is a premise that we get a lot throughout later movies.
Maggie does a lot of running around, and just to, you know, break this down, she finds out she's adopted. Her mother can't explain to her. They didn't tell us who they were. She goes into the dream world, finds out that, oh, okay, well, Freddy's my father. She comes out of the dream with the little pigtails, like the little girl that we've seen, and, you know, Freddy, you know, out there trying to figure out what was going on with his wife, and, oh, there's a big secret, and, you know, she's like, oh, okay, Freddy's my father. We're going to go in, we're going to kill him.
Makes you wonder if the girls we always see jump roping is Freddy showing us all along that he had a daughter.
That's an interesting point.
How about it? Thank you, sir.
Very nice point. Very nice point.
Okay. They go into the
What
fight.
do you think about like all of that? I mean, I know I just shotgunned a lot of information, and
That's what I want.
and I don't
Get
want
it
to.
out
I don't
there.
want to shotgun it because I want people to actually think about this. But I mean, does it make any sense to what we've known before? To me,
They're
it's
humanizing
really rough.
They're trying to humanize somebody that we didn't want humanized,
Exactly.
and we didn't need humanized.
Absolutely.
We get more, the Freddy without makeup stuff. It was just, like I said, I think at that point he was like, part of his contract was, I don't want to be in makeup all movie. Like, I don't want to sit through them, So a lot of the movie suffered for it, and then
Absolutely.
he said, okay, how can we write in you as a human to where you don't have to wear makeup?
So here comes your backstory.
So here we go, origins.
So now, Doc and Maggie and everybody get together and say, okay, here's what you're going to do. You have to enter his mind. You have to enter his thing. And here's what you're going to do. You're going to go into the dream. Wear these 3D glasses. Why? Because New Line Cinema got a deal for 15 minutes of 3D film editing for 1995, and it was a great way to make it kitschy like the 60s, so everybody in the movie theater, when you see Maggie put her glasses on, make sure you put yours on.
Yeah, and then they disappear into her face
Yeah.
and shit.
And she enters into the big poster that's now an archway with the 3 demon sperm. And this symbolizes Maggie going into Freddy's mind, much like Doc told her. I thought it was a nice symbol of, her getting into Freddy's head. And it's also a callback to the poster on Doc's wall in his office. I mean, what do you think about that? I like the imagery.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, we get the 3 demons sperm that I call them wiggling around and laughing. I wasn't a fan of all the laughter in this movie.
Yeah.
But I did like the fact that they tried the 3D thing and the effects. I mean, she's walking into a poster, but making it look like a real archway and all that. I didn't mind what they did, and then the whole premise of it, her entering his brain through the demons and all that. Yeah, I thought it was cool to keep that continuity with the story from the earlier part of the movie.
Right.
So, yeah, I like that.
But then I think entering his mind and, we got the hallway and you've got the, symbolic doors of different parts of his memory when he was a child.
Mm-hmm.
It's something that's a little bit, I think it's overused. But once again, from then, it was probably a fresh idea, but...
Don't forget about the bracelet.
Oh, yeah, the bracelet that shut the breaker off.
Yeah,
so the Undertaker lightning. But, and this is all setting up the final battle. You see, real briefly, 4 images of, Freddy as a youngster with the hamster.
Mm-hmm.
Son of 100 maniacs.
Yep.
Him as, I'm going to say, either a young teenager or young adult.
I saw him as like 15, 16-ish.
Okay. The whole thing with, pain doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We see his death and the demons actually entering him. And then the final one that we see, which I think is the most important about his memory, is Catherine's coming out of the basement after finding his little secret room, him choking Mommy. That is what throws everything into Maggie/Catherine and builds up the whole fight scene. And the fight scene. Well,
yeah. I mean, it's physical.
It's very physical.
But I just don't like the fact that she can overpower Freddy pretty much throughout the entire fight.
Well, and like I said, they did a nice callback. She grabs Freddy, tries to pull him into the real world, and call back to Elm Street 1.
Yeah. I mean, that seems to be what most of the movies try to stick with, that you can grab them and bring them into the real world if you're holding them.
If they would have kept that, though, exactly. More of these movies. But
yeah, that was his one weakness. You bring him into the real world, he has to leave the real world to go back into the dream world to get his power. If you keep him here, you can beat him. That would have been a good... I would have taken that fight every movie if they threw it in there in some shape or form.
The thing I wish they would have done, and like I said, Maggie, she wakes up, oh my God, he's gone. They start looking for him. Mm-hmm. When we see him, I love the fact that it was Robert Englund pre-burned. I wish the fight scene would have went with him.
I could see that.
It would have, I don't want to say humanize him, but it wasn't. Then again, it's not Freddy Krueger as we know him.
No, it's not.
So the fight scene.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, thank God the police didn't come and confiscate all of Spencer's stuff, knives and bats and you name it.
Yeah, and then just the Jersey she was throwing at him. That was funny.
It was kind of humorous.
I mean, she's breaking his fingers and stuff, bending them back, and I thought that was cool. And then when he got the glove back and he had to try to fix his fingers to put his glove back on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Little things like that I didn't mind, I guess. But I just didn't know she was trained under Cobra Kai.
Ah, Sensei Kreese.
Honk.
Well, and then the movie ends basically with, she throws 68,523, ninja shurikens or throwing stars and knives or whatever. It ends with, she has the glove.
Which I will cut you off real quick. Do you think they were trying to go somewhere with, her becoming Freddy with the glove?
Well, that's what I was getting at.
Okay.
Hey, try it on for size, and she does.
It's in your blood.
Yeah, and she tries it on, and apparently not how Fred had it, planned.
Yeah.
She drives the blades underneath his rib cage, like he did through how many of the movies, and the confiscated pipe bomb from Spencer. Tracy and Doc light it. Throw it to her. She buries it in his chest, kisses him. Happy Father's Day. Kaboom. After he, of course, makes his last quip. Kids.
And we get the head morphing into itself, 3D effect. You get three demons, all that.
They fly out. The glasses
Laughter.
the 3D glasses show back up on Catherine's face. Now it's no longer Maggie, which was a little bit, troublesome for me. Trying to remember Catherine, Maggie, whatever. And then, Freddy's dead. And the big smile, fade to black. I love the fact that they did
the montage.
The montage of the best stuff from the first 5.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I think that was because most movies did do that when it was the last movie, last installment.
But ultimately, though, like I said, New Line Cinema wanted this to be Freddy's dead. That was it.
Yeah.
We're killing because they pumped the well dry. And
at that point,
and like I said, they always called New Line Cinema the house that Freddy built. Mm-hmm. Well, New Line Cinema, now that they got bigger, burned it down. And apparently they used Freddy up for whatever they wanted to and threw him away like an old rubber.
Yeah, and the only way they would have brought him back was the way they did.
Yeah.
I think that would have been the only way to bring him back, and you couldn't just give that to a random person and say make another Nightmare movie. You know what I mean?
Well, we said it before, we'll say it again, and everybody say it with me. Englund is Krueger. That's it.
Period. End of story.
Yeah.
Agree.
What's what's your rating on this, sir?
My rating on this one is a 0.5 out of 10. Really, you heard throughout this episode what our thoughts really were, so I don't think you're too surprised on that one, considering I gave the last one a 1, and I didn't think that was as bad. So, yeah, 0.5 out of 10 for me.
I got to give this one a 1 out of 10 for me, too. Basically just because, once again, it felt rushed to me. There were plot holes. I am going to give somebody a shout out because, once again, like we've talked, it takes a lot to write a good script. It takes a lot to direct movies, and I'm giving them the 1 for that.
Takes a lot to write a bad script, too, I guess.
Not much. Apparently there was... Never mind.
Yeah. So, otherwise, that's our wrap-up of Nightmare Part 6 / Freddy's Dead.
The Final Nightmare.
So, yeah, our next episode will be wrapping up the series with New Nightmare, Wes Craven, Heather Langenkamp come back. So, yeah, looking forward to that one. I enjoy that movie. Personally, I got to rewatch it because I have not watched it for a while.
I have to rewatch it too because it's been a long time.
So, yeah, so once we rewatch it, maybe we'll have a different mindset. Maybe I'll go back negative, you'll go more positive. We'll see what happens. So look for that in the next episode.
Sounds like a winner.
Awesome. So now we're going to get into our top 5 this episode, which would be top 5 worst sequels in a horror franchise, which is basically any installment in a series.
And we kind of did something a little bit different on this one.
Yeah.
Jimmy came up with the idea for this. And usually before every podcast, we kind of cheat and we look at each other. And this one, we nailed 5-1 dead nuts. Every single one of us.
Yep. Every all of us.
Every all of us. Every one of our 5, 1 through 5, was exactly the same. So we've combined this.
Yeah, and it's a really good list, I think. All bad movies. I don't think anybody could say, wait a minute. But if you can, please let us know in the comments.
Oh, yes, by the way, yeah.
If you
comment.
Yes. Comment on the movie, comment on the rating, and please comment on our top 5 or movies you would like us to review later on. So we'll start with the top 5. Number 5, ours were Jason Goes to Hell, which was the 9th installment of the Friday the 13th franchise, and really just a lazy movie. Although we did get Kane Hodder for the first time out of makeup as a guarding Freddy, or guarding Jason, sorry. The whole premise of eating Jason's heart, whoever ate his heart became him, and you can only see him in the mirror. And we only see him, like I said, in the mirror or at the very last part of the movie. Kind of reminiscent of Jason Takes Manhattan, where you thought you were going to get a Friday the 13th Jason movie, but here you got Jason at the last part of the movie, like we got Manhattan in the last part of that movie.
The Love Boat Goes to Hell.
Yes, so...
The problem I had with Jason Goes to Hell was, to reiterate, you didn't see Jason at all, except if it was in the mirror or it was always somebody else. I don't know if it was a way to get out of makeup.
That's what I'm saying. So we're not looking at Jason Voorhees. We're looking at a person
that's acting like him.
That's possessed by Jason Voorhees.
But when it wasn't, the big slimy slug.
Yes.
I mean, it just didn't make any sense to me. But we did get a nice little, at the end of it, which gave this kid hope.
Mm-hmm.
The glove coming up out of the ground.
Which started it all, I think.
Started it all for...
In 1994, and it took them 8 years to make it, but they made one. But it was cool to get that. And at that point, that was actually a pretty big deal because that was 2 completely different production companies. And having...
Or was it?
Well, yeah.
Are you sure?
At that point, yeah.
I could have swore I read somewhere along the lines that New Line got a hold of the rights for Jason, and that's where...
Well, that's when the movie... That's what later on when they were able to make the movie.
That's what I... Okay.
But
all right.
in that scene, it was it was a big shock.
Yeah, it
really
was.
was. And we
Shocked
heard the
hell out of
laugh,
me.
but because legal purposes, they never said the name, this was Freddy Krueger.
Right.
It was just for the fans, so they couldn't get sued. So... that's number 5. Number 4.
Our number 4 is Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation, starring Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey.
Yes, with a robotic leg, apparently.
This movie had absolutely nothing to do with Texas Chainsaw Massacre other than the name. There was no big feast in this. Renee Zellweger yelling at Leatherface.
Yeah.
Screaming and yelling and make it like he's a little puppy dog. And it sucked.
And if you haven't seen that movie, I don't recommend it. But one good scene about the movie is the female in the movie flashes her boobies. So we get some boobies. And she turns out to be part of the family. Whatever.
Yeah.
And but the whole premise is just idiotic. She's actually not even part of the family, but she's able to control people, whatever.
Wasn't there something with
prom night kids going and getting lost in the woods, and Matthew McConaughey is a tow truck driver, kidnap, kills, blah, blah, blah.
Wasn't there something with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey's like agencies, intelligence agencies, whenever they were getting bigger or whatever, and they were going to re-release this, and there was a big supposed lawsuit or something to keep their names and faces and completely off of posters.
They kept the original poster had a picture of Leatherface in the middle, Matthew McConaughey on one side, Renee Zellweger on the other side. And over the years, they basically said, take me off of that poster, both of them. They don't even want to be associated with that movie, even though they are in the movie. So if you see it, they can't take them out. But as far as like the logos or the picture or the posters, they are off of them. All updated versions of that poster.
It all boils down to, you know what,
That shows how bad it is.
I was young. I needed the money.
Yeah.
I needed to get a start.
Yeah.
And, you got to swallow your pride sometime, I think.
Yeah. I mean, early in the mid-'90s, it was out. At that point, he had not gotten Days of Confused yet. She had not gotten Bridget Jones yet.
Yeah.
They were just young actors in a horror movie, which is normal. So I don't know what they're so pissed off about. It's a movie you made. Oh, well.
Look at number 3. What do we got?
Number 3, shocker, would be Halloween Resurrection.
I thought you said shocker.
Give them the shocker. And although, this is a Halloween franchise, and I love Halloween.
As do I.
This was just a terrible installment and unnecessary installment. And really just, hey, we haven't seen Michael in a couple years. Let's put him back out there.
And they were also, I think, my personal opinion, they were trying to, score cash on the whole reality TV thing, and everything's got to be handheld, or I guess now GoPro.
Yeah, it was all...
And it was terrible.
Internet streaming type show that you got to watch on TV live. They were going to investigate Michael Myers' house for some odd reason with Busta Rhymes, and the only reason he was in it was because the producer of the company, grandson or son or somebody was a fan of him, and that's also why he wasn't killed in the movie, because he wanted Busta Rhymes to be a returning character in the franchise, and that's not a joke. He wanted him to come back and make another movie with Busta Rhymes as the lead. So,
okay.
Just saying, just letting you know what their plan was.
Would Busta Rhymes, if he did come back, be kung fu kicking Michael Myers' ass?
He'd be watching more What Chung Lee. He would be side kicking Michael through windows and shit. And apparently, which another reason I hated this movie, they made Michael a bitch. It was just stupid. Jamie Lee Curtis knew it was terrible, so she only came back for 5 minutes to get killed for the paycheck. I don't blame her, because she knew at some point probably somebody was going to come along like they did and resurrect, quote unquote, the franchise. So she was right. But other than that, I'm good with that one.
Our number 2 was the movie we just got done reviewing, Freddy's Dead.
Yes.
I don't know what else more to say about it. In my personal opinion, it really once again suffered under the hands of too many people trying to do ideas, too many script revisions. I don't know if it was rushed. I don't know if too many people said, we ought to do it this way, we ought to do it this way, we ought to do it this way. Somewhere down the line, if they had so much problems with trying to do a good script, Mr. Shea should have been smart enough and said, wait a minute, hold on, let me make a phone call to the guy who came up with the original script and get some ideas off of him. But you couldn't do that because you didn't have the balls, as far as I'm concerned, and you burned too many bridges. I'm sorry. What did...
I said his ego really stops him.
Well, that's true, too.
He really believes he knows what's best for this series, to be honest with you.
Now,
judging from interviews, he does.
Father knows best. That's a take on that, the old
I think he's the creepy uncle, and Wes Craven is the father. So
he's not even a creepy uncle. He's the creepy next-door neighbor who you called uncle as a kid.
Yeah. Uncle Joe touched me.
And what's our number 1?
Oh, my goodness. So, another Halloween movie, except not a Halloween movie in my mind. Halloween 2, the Rob Zombie version. Piece of shit. Rob Zombie version.
No, it's not even a piece of shit, because at least shit somewhere has a purpose. You can do something with it.
Yes.
You can fertilize.
This movie has no purpose.
This movie was lower than whale shit, and it's on the bottom of the ocean.
Yes, it has no purpose. It's oh gosh. I feel bad that I actually gave this movie money to go see in the theater.
Sucker.
I only took one time, and I left that place so angry of what he did. And that's just a theatrical version. Wait until I actually got the DVD version.
You actually bought the DVD?
Yeah.
Oh, director's cut. That's right.
And saw another part of the movie that he wanted in there that weren't in there in the theater that made it even worse. But having a movie where you take these clean-cut kids from Haddonfield, shout out to my T-shirt, and you put them in a farm atmosphere with very dark, grainy footage, and saying the word "fuck" every scene.
And throwing them, and makeup being, here, stand underneath this pile of dirt, roll around in it. Cause...
Yeah. we're going to throw some blood on you. Michael, you're going to cut people's heads off and make it as gory as possible. You're going to say as many dirty things as possible. And we're going to take the mask off you and make you look like a guy instead of the shape, which is what made you famous in the first place. Everything about this movie was idiotic, and it was because it was all Rob Zombie's idea. And we will have Rob Zombie retrospective eventually, but just to give you a little tidbit of my thoughts on Rob Zombie is he is a one-trick pony. He's a great director, terrible writer. He needs to stick with cinematography and writing and music,
and he needs to get
directing and music, and leave the writing to real writers who know how to make a story, how to make characters, and make something watchable.
And he needs to get his actors and his characters and his scripts, near a bar of soap and shampoo, because nobody has to always look like a dirty backwoods redneck all the time.
But because
it
does.
works. It works. You know what? It worked for Devil's Rejects. They were filthy. They really were. I could see that. It worked for House of a Thousand Corpses. Okay. Let's not use it in every single solitary fucking movie, Rob. And the other thing is, we really have to. I know Sherry Moon is his wife, and I know she's attractive. Does she have to be in every lead role in a movie? Or
can you imagine being married to somebody who you set the precedent of, okay, you're going to be my star in my movies, and then try to say, okay, sorry, you're not going to be in this movie? How do you think that home life would be after that? You know what I mean? So it's his fault for even giving her that role to begin with of, you're always going to be my star. And he should have just treated her like a regular person and said, you got to audition. I'm sorry. It's not my choice. It's up to the producers.
Well,
blah.
Yeah, and you can see it in his videos too. I mean, Living Dead Girl, there she was. And once again, that's something else we're going to talk about.
Like I said, we will have a long retrospective episode with Rob Zombie, because negative or positive, he does have a lot to talk about. So we will get to that. But yeah, our list rounds up with Halloween Part 2, Rob Zombie version, 2009.
Now, if you excuse me, I got to go try to find my white horse so I can gallop off into the sunset. That was just that last little knife Rob Zombie Halloween 2.
Another example, even though he killed her, or she killed herself or whatever in part 1. In part 1, he still had to put her in the movie.
Michael was looking for Mama.
He still had to put her in the movie. Even though her character died, she said, no, I am coming and being in this movie. He said, okay, let me find something about white horses and dreams and shit, and I'll put you in the movie.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Okay.
And then we get young Michael, which is another character because the original got too old, and
whatever.
Flashback bullshit. It's God, I fucking hate this movie.
Easy, your blood pressure.
Okay, we're good.
Okay. Is that about all?
I think we're good here. This episode was actually pretty entertaining compared to what I thought it was going to be with this movie. So
you know what? And our last little bit there on that's hatched an idea in my brain that we'll talk about for a future podcast.
Yeah, ideas are definitely not limited here. We have a lot of them.
And speaking of ideas, if I may, guys out there listening who's subscribing, yes, guys and ladies. If you're out there listening to us, when you guys are listening, give us some feedback. We love hearing feedback. We want comments. Hey, if you think our perspective on Freddy's Dead was completely wrong, give us some stuff. Tell us, hey, you guys are assholes. What about this, and this? Well, we'll come back and we'll do a rebuttal.
Mm-hmm. I get private messages, but I want you guys to actually interact on the pages and on the videos, because then other viewers and listeners will be able to interact with you and hear your thoughts. And, it's not just for us, it's for you guys to interact too. So we don't have many people yet. Hopefully it keeps snowballing like we hope it is, but we're only, 6 episodes in. And
we want to hear your feedback, positive, negative. Hey, we love you. Hey, you guys suck. It doesn't matter to me. There's no such thing as bad publicity.
Exactly. And if you want it, like I said, any idea you have, please send it our way. If we can do it, we're going to try our hardest to do it.
Yeah.
If not, we'll at least give you a shout out on the show.
Try not to go back too far. Mid-70s, I'd say. We're not
going to go too deep. I wanted, we want this to be more.
We're not doing Nosferatu.
No, fun, which was just something that we wanted to make more fun, more slashery, more. Okay, let's talk about the kills. Let's talk about the nudity. Let's talk about the bad acting. More fun stuff. I don't want to. We're not gonna delve in here to meanings and what that coloring meant and all this bullshit. There are shows that can do that, and I don't talk down on them. That's just not what I enjoy personally, and I'm sorry, but this is a creation, and you should create something that you're passionate about. And if I'm not passionate about it, if we're not passionate about it, it's not going to be a good episode for you to listen to. So I want to stick with something we both are knowledgeable about and passionate about, and that would make better episodes for you. So let's keep it that way, and please let us hear your ideas and your top fives also.
Sure. Give us ideas for top fives, top tens.
Yeah.
We'd love to see it.
So if you're done, I am done.
I'm done.
Once again, I was Jim.
And I'm still Chevy.
All right, we'll be with you next time with episode 7 of Slash Cast, New Nightmare.